Madam Vice President, thank you for the time.
Thank you. It's good to be with you, Brett.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you,
now,
just a number, do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is...
That's what he's trying to do, god dang it. He got straight to the point. He got straight to the point. What do you mean, let's just get to the point? That's what he wanted to do. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, I told you I wasn't going to talk too much. I'm not going to talk too much. But he tried to get straight to the point. Okay, be quiet, Van.
That we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have an
it's a rough estimate of 6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get you the question. I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the Chips and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the... Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please?
But
you have to let me finish,
You
please.
had the White House and the House and the Senate,
and they didn't bring up that bill. I'm in the middle of responding to the point you're raising, and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one, then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the Attorney General, former Attorney General of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
Prosecuted trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just finish.
6 Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you,
but actually is focused on fixing it.
6 Democrats voted against that bill. It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats. But more importantly, back to the original premise, Jocelyn Nungary, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Brett,
those
I think it's
families
really, I think
an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There is no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred. So that is true. It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice President.
To ensure that no future harm would occur. And this election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage in an election, because there was a solution, Brett.
Madam Vice President, it was.
Okay, first of all, before I continue, I just want to say this because you are full. She's full of sugar, honey, iced tea. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be polite. I've been praying to God, trying to be nicer and kinder and all that other stuff. But she's full of sugar, honey, iced tea, bro. First of all, she wants to say 9 months ago we could have fixed this problem if Trump wouldn't have bullied everyone not to sign the bill. Okay, since time is so important to you, then how about this? 3 years ago, y'all could have fixed this issue, being that you had the Senate, you had the House, and you had a Democratic president who could have clearly, well, first of all, you ain't have to rip up all of the measures that Trump already had in place to keep illegal immigrants out of the country. You guys didn't have to rip that up, but you did it to make a political statement. And now you want to sit on your high horse, you want to sit on your soapbox and act as if you gave a crap. I wanted to say the F word, but I'm not. Oh, I wanted to say the F word, but I'm not. And now you want to sit on your soapbox and act as if you gave a crap. And you clearly did not. We have been teaching people how to grow online. It's been absolutely amazing. We have 3 people who have been able to reach monetization in less than 30 days. Growing YouTube channels, some from 0 people. We have one guy who had 2 subscribers before he started working with me. He started helping him. His views went up 4.8 million%. We're super excited. If anybody ever want to grow on YouTube, you reach out to me with the word coach. So all that time says that was our #1 priority. Obviously, it was the #1 priority to you too, because you started our conversation off with that question. Well, if it was a #1 priority, how come you didn't freaking fix it? How come you ripped up the measures that were already in place and allowing quadruple the amount of illegal immigrants to come into our country? You didn't vet them. You didn't do anything, but you want to act like y'all been doing work. We've been working towards it. Basically, what that means, in government employee speak, we've been having meetings. We've been meeting about it. For the last 3 years, we've been having meetings, and then we came up with this immaculate bill that was for $118 billion, where 61% of it was going to Ukraine, 13% of it was going to, 12% of it was going to the border. So how in the hell was this a solution? She is so full of sugar. She don't want to accept any accountability whatsoever. My bad for interjecting, but come on, man. Accountability. You're not going to lose any points. As a matter of fact, for someone like myself, if she would have been honest, man, I would have been like, okay, yeah, she's honest about it. At least she's accepting the fact that they played a major part in what's going on with our border. But she's not even accepting a small teaspoon of it. Not even a teaspoon of it, man. I don't like that at all. Okay, let's get back into it. This is crazy.
It was a policy decision in the early part of your administration. I will let one of the mothers Talk about it. Take a listen.
Oh my gosh.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungare's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's
Wow.
the early days.
Wow.
But do you owe them an apology is what
I
I'm
will
saying.
tell you that I am so sorry for her loss.
The answer is hell no. She's not going to give them an apology, because if she apologizes, that means she accepts blame, she accepts accountability, and she does not take any accountability when it comes to this. So no, she's not about to apologize.
I'm so sorry for her loss. Sincerely. But let's
Pivot.
talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions. Let's talk about that as well.
But do you
Brett,
want to answer
in all
her?
fairness, I told you, I feel awful for what she and her family have experienced.
During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration even before. Let's all be honest about that. I have no pride in saying that this is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear, I think we all are, that it needs to be fixed. We need more. I was just down at the border talking with border agents, and they will tell you, and I'm sure you probably, I know you investigate and you are a serious journalist. They will tell you, we need more judges. We need to process those cases faster. We need the support for those cases that should be prosecuted. They need more resources, and Congress ultimately is the only place that that's going to get fixed, Brett.
Well,
that's how this system works.
That's the premise of this question.
But
There were
that's how the
90
system
plus
works.
executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because there's other things to talk about, but you frequently talk to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you've been, quote, a failure with border security. Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated, and I get it. They want support. They want support, and that's what that border security bill would have done. These guys down at the border, these men and women, they're working hard. They're working around the clock. I get it.
Do you get that you were a part of the problem and not the solution for the last 3.5 years, lady? Ah, where's my slap midget? Where's my slap midget? Where's a slap midget when you need one? I need somebody daggone fill out these applications, and you got to meet the height requirements. You got to be smaller than 3'8". Okay, you got to be smaller than that. There's people been applying, and they've been 5'11" and 6'5". You just want to slap Kamala. Okay, don't apply for the job. Okay. All right. And I don't care if you're black, and I don't care if you're a woman and you're applying for it. You're not getting it just because you're a minority. All right. There's no affirmative action for this position. If you want to be the slap midget, you got to be below 3'8". Okay. All right. Don't just be applying because, ooh, I want to slap her. No, it doesn't work that way. This lady she's pissing me off, man. I want to say some stuff, but I'm not. Okay, let's jump back. Brett is doing an amazing job. This dude is pulling out receipts. He's pulling out receipts, man. That's what you need in a conversation. That's what you need. She is waiting. She's hoping and praying, dear Lord, let him leave this immigration conversation. Let's talk about something that's bubbly and make me feel good inside. And MSNBC said that she knocked it out the park. A brother on CNN said that she hit a home run with this interview. I'm not seeing it. Okay, let's go.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said in 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law. So do you support that?
We are very clear, and I am very clear, as is Tim Walz, that we must support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
So decriminalizing border crossings, like you said in 2019.
I do not believe in decriminalizing border crossings, and I've not done that as vice president. I will not do that as president.
So these are evolutions that you've had.
No, but let's be very clear. I'm the only person who's running for president who has prosecuted
Here we go.
transnational criminal
Here we go.
organizations, from the Sinaloa cartel,
Here
the
we go.
Guadalajara cartel, to people who have trafficked in guns, drugs, and human beings. I have
Yep.
spent a significant part of my career
Yeah, you have.
going after people who present a threat to the safety of the American people and cross our border with the intent of doing us harm and cross our border illegally. And I will do that work as vice president. I take that work quite seriously.
This is a time when voters, especially here in
She said, and I will do that work as vice president. Check this out. You are full of sugar, honey, iced tea. She has nothing to stand on for the last 3.5 years. So she constantly brings up the times back in the day. I was in the courtroom and I was a bad mofo. Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was. I was a bad mofo when I was an attorney. What about when you in the Senate? How many bills did you get passed? Huh? Were you able to sway anybody to pass anything that you wanted to get passed? Huh? At all. Just name one. Just one. No? What about the last 3.5 years? What have you done about what everybody is pissed off about when it comes to the border? Oh, you don't want to talk about that. Look, I've been clear, and so has Tim Walz been clear, and we've all been super clear, like Windex. You have not been clear, goddaggit. We're not even clear of your nationality. Are you black? Are you Indian? Are you Jamaican man? Are you a blood clot Jamaican man? What are you?